Hey YouTube family, how are you guys doing? Hope you're all doing well. So today, we're going to make a $977 guitar, an actual $977 guitar. How do we do that? Unfortunately, we got to change a bunch of parts. And the process has already begun. This is my brand new EVH Wolfgang that I bought approximately a month ago. I did an unboxing video and I followed up with a complete kind of setup video, and both are listed in the description below. However, I knew when I was going through that process that things would have to change on this, because these guitars, although don't get me wrong, they are awesome. I love the ergonomics, I love the body style, I love how they feel in your hand, and I love roasted maple neck, so it was a no-brainer for me. The only problem I had with it was the price. Here in Canada, these are $850. And we have 15% taxes here in Prince Edward Island. So this was $977.50 for me to bring home. As you'll see in those videos, if you choose to watch them, when you get right into it, this guitar has budget components on it. These standards are made in Indonesia, along with most of the guitars on my wall back there. And they come with budget hardware and electronics. And this one does too. And I know a lot of people online are going to be bashing me because they think I'm bashing EVH or Fender, and I'm not. I totally love those products. I grew up on them in the 80s. Most people who know me on YouTube think I'm just a budget guitar guy and, oh, he just bashes brand names. And no, I just don't pay those prices because I realize you're not getting what you pay for. Not even close. This guitar, as it sits, from what I've seen based on other guitars I've been working on, is a $399 guitar. That's what it is. It's a $399 guitar. You put a brand name on the headstock and you mark up the price by 100 to 200%. That's just how it works. You can disagree with me all you want, but that's the absolute truth, man. That's just how it works. These tuners are terrible. They're super stiff in some areas, and then they get really loose. And then they're nice and easy to turn, and then they get really stiff, and then they're loose. It's like every single one is like that. These posts, if I take the string off, these posts are all loose. Everyone has play. They're non-locking tuners. They're just a generic, non-branded tuner. Typical to what you would see on a $200 to $250 budget guitar. This nut, although it looks like it's graphite, black, it's plastic. It's a plastic nut. This switch is a box switch. It's loose, and look at the play in that. This bridge I already upgraded. As you can see, I put a Music Lily Pro roller bridge on it. The original bridge did not intonate unless you pulled the bridge off and flipped it around, which you'll see in my other video if you choose to watch it. So how do we make this guitar worth its price? Well, some new tuners, which I just got in the mail. We'll unbox these. A Graphtec pre-lubricated nut. And an actual switch. That's the reality of this guitar, man. You're going to get a nice body, a nice neck, and everything else on it is going to be budget. That's how the profits are made. And it kind of ticks me off a little bit because to the unknowing customer, you're not getting what you pay for. So let's put some parts on this guitar. First thing we're going to start with is this switch. This is a suction cup that comes on deflector folding things that you put in the windshield. Anyway, these never stay on, but instead of throwing them out, I use them as cover removers. Right? So they work great for that. We got a ton of space in there, and you can see that it's just a cheap box switch. So we're going to replace that switch with this black toggle switch, which is what you'd find in a Gibson or, higher end Epiphone. So we're just going to pop this switch out, and then we'll be able to see what we're dealing with as far as wires go. A little pair of needle nose pliers and a clot, and turn. They're not on that tight. I'm going to keep the black switch tip And I'm going to keep this nut. Got to figure out what wire does what. So we have one pickup wire here. This black wire is a pickup wire. We have one pickup wire here. And there are 4 wire pickups because you can see that they have shrink wrap around the wire and you can feel a lump underneath. So that means they have 2 of the 4 wires tied off. And then we have the main wire that goes out to the volume pot is in the middle. And voila. So they have one piece of aluminum foil in the bottom there, and it's not even sticking to the cavity. See that? See how I can just lift that up? I'm gonna put some copper foil shielding tape in there, and I'm gonna shield the bottom to this cover as well. All right, so I'm just gonna cut 4 strips here, like this. I'm gonna put one right where the screw is. All right, so we got this, right? We got 4 strands of shielding going from the top cover to the bottom of the cavity. And this is going to cover those 4 ends that are sticking out on the cavity floor. Okay, just going to trim the hole opening. All right, so now we have this. So shielded floor, 4 strips. Once you put this cavity cover on top, it'll make contact with these 4 strips, which are making contact with the shielding floor, which was making contact with the switch. A lot of this black stuff is non-conductive, so we're going to go ahead and sand the edges off here. All right, so there, I just took some of the black paint off, so when this thing sits in here, it'll make contact with the metal and not the black paint. Okay, just soldered the last wire, and I'm just fitting the switch. I ended up cutting off a bunch of this outside sleeve because there's just too much wire bunched into this cavity. And another thing I did, I just installed, see that, a piece of black tape right across the front here, because I don't want these front tabs to make contact with this grounding strip. So yeah, that'll look like that. There's it's almost flush, so that's perfect. No spacer required. All right, put my tip on here. Now, playing position. I want to be able to just, okay, so that has turned a little bit. It should be bridge. Yeah. Middle. Yep, and neck. Perfect. All right, check for noise. Nope. Bridge pickup. Alright, next thing, nut. I'll use one of these string retainers here. They go under the neck and the string just cup in here. There, that'll work. That'll give me enough clearance to work on this nut. Just going to put some masking tape under these strings. There. At least the string is not rubbing on the paint. I'm going to use this. So this is a very fine tip cutting tool, and it'll allow me to get onto the ends as well. And then we'll use like a little block of wood, and we'll try and tap the nut, and we'll get it. And we might have to use some heat if all of the above doesn't work, but it's got to come out of there. It's a cheap plastic nut, and I don't want it in my $977 guitar. Oh, look at that. I think it moved. Yes, sir. Look at that. Pop right out. Flat file here like this. I'm just going to run it on the two edges. It's a little tight. Gotta go sand off a little bit off the back here. I don't want to mess up the front because the front's where your intonation happens, right? There. All I have to do is remove the lettering on the back of this nut and it slides in there now. No problem at all. Okay, perfect. So now I want to see where these strings are going to sit in relations to the alignment and in relations to the height at the first fret. All right, let's bring these strings up to pitch. That's where I want it. And now, check action height at the first fret. Oh, and we are way up there. Yep. We're up there. It's going to have to come down. So I'm going to remove it and go sand it down. So now once the strings are loosened, you just get like a paint stick. And you can kind of torque it one way and just slide the nut out. Ta-da! All right, going to go sand the bottom of that. All right, so try this again. So what I ended up doing is I checked the height right at the first fret after fretting down at the third fret, and it was 0.024 according to this fret gauge. So I just I pulled the saddle out, laid it on a flat surface like I did for the Acoustasonic that you guys may have seen. And I just put a mark at 0.024 just as a guide, and I went just above that mark. And we'll see how close I am now. Hopefully it'll be pretty much bang on. Let's check. Oh, look at that. Very little movement there. Very little movement there. Huh. Pretty darn close. I guess I can go right to the line. And then we'll be good. All right. That's it. This will be the last time. Let's check. Oh, that's perfect. Huh. That is perfect right there. Just making a line under the G and D strings so I know exactly where to line it up when I glue it in. So I got to get these strings all out of the way again. Drop that in there, a little bit of CA glue, and we're done. So all I got to do is put a little drop in here. And line this up with the ends and the lines. You're good. The next thing I want to do to make this guitar actually worth $977 is put these new tuners on it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what these are, and this video is longer than I want it to be to begin with, so that'll be part 2. But I will tell you this. I'm not putting a $40 set of tuners on a $977 guitar. So you guys can take a guess on what kind of tuners these are, but I highly doubt that you'll get the answer right. But you can post them in the comments. So join me in part 2 for an explanation of these tuners, an installation, and then a final demo. And hopefully we'll have a guitar worth $977. The problem is I'll have almost $1,300 into it. So you can't win. That's why I buy budget guitars, man. You can't win. Anyway, you guys take care. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one.